If you can't pay, don't play.
Knowledge shouldn't have a price tag.
Is it theft or survival in the digital world, and who is truly right? Mateo, 24, architecture student.
I'm currently studying architecture in Buenos Aires, and I need professional 3D modeling software to graduate. But the annual license costs 3 months of our minimum wage here. While that might be just 2 days of work in the US, it's an impossible sum for my family when we are already struggling to afford basic groceries due to inflation. I chose to crack the software not to hurt a corporation, but to learn a skill that will eventually allow me to get a job and pay for a legal license in the future.
Richard, 45, software sales executive.
I hear these types of sob stories all the time, but the reality is that nobody is entitled to a luxury product just because they feel they need it for their career. You wouldn't dream of walking into a dealership and stealing a car because you need to drive to work, so software built by engineers who need to feed their families should be treated with the same respect. If you truly can't afford a professional license, there are plenty of free open-source alternatives available, yet people still insist on wanting the premium brand without paying the premium price tag. Using cracked software is not only illegal, but also dangerous for your system, and it ultimately devalues the hard work of thousands of developers who deserve to be compensated.
Is piracy acceptable when the price is impossible to pay? What do you think? Kyle, 19, gamer.
I pirate everything. Movies, games, music. Why would I pay $60 for a new game when I can get it for free on a torrent site an hour after release? I consider it a permanent free trial. If I play it for 50 hours and I really like it, maybe I'll buy it on a Steam sale for $5 later, but usually I don't. Most developers are greedy anyway, releasing unfinished games with bugs. I'm doing them a favor by playing their game and talking about it online. That's free exposure, right? I save thousands of dollars a year. It's the internet, man. Information wants to be free. If they didn't want it stolen, they should have better security.
Sarah, 29, indie game developer.
The idea of free exposure doesn't help me pay my rent after spending 3 years of my life and all of my personal savings to develop my very first indie game. My partner and I worked 14-hour days and lived on cheap noodles hoping this launch would start our careers, only to find 15,000 people playing pirated versions, while we only sold 200 copies. Even though we priced the game at only $10, which is basically the price of a sandwich, the level of piracy was so high that we couldn't fund our next project and were forced to close the studio forever. While people think they are sticking it to a big corporation, the reality is that they are usually just bankrupting small dreamers who put everything on the line to create something new.
Does try before you buy justify hurting small creators? Tell us below. David, 52, digital archivist.
I run a server dedicated to abandonware because when companies go bust or licenses expire, these digital works often vanish forever without people like me to preserve the history of the medium. Just last week, a major publisher removed a classic game from every digital storefront, making it literally impossible to buy legally, and proving that piracy is sometimes the only way to keep culture alive. I am proud to be a digital librarian saving works that corporations would rather delete, because preserving art for future generations should never be considered a criminal act.
James, 41, author and IP holder.
I understand the desire for preservation, but we also have to respect the creator's right to control their own work and decide how their legacy is presented to the world. If I wrote a book or made a game years ago that no longer reflects my views or quality standards, I should have the absolute right to take it off the market without people bypassing my choice. Forced preservation against an artist's will isn't some noble act. It is a direct violation of our rights as creators to decide if our work should remain public or simply disappear.
Survival or robbery, the line is blurry. Whose side are you on today? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for the next debate.